Hi, welcome to the flipped instructional session for Math 08B for Unit 203, Complementary and Supplementary Angles. Today we're going to talk about identifying angle pairs as complementary, supplementary, or neither. We're going to find the measure of one angle in an angle pair when you know the measure of the other angle. And finally, we're going to write and solve angle equations. Some important vocabulary to know. Adjacent angles. These are two angles in the same plane that have a common side and a common vertex, but no common interior points. So a linear pair are two angles that have a common side and the same vertex, and their other sides point in opposite directions. Complementary angles are two angles that measures add up to 90 degrees, and supplementary angles are two angles whose measurements add up to 180 degrees. So these are the definitions that we'll be using in the lesson and the unit. So let's take a look. Angle 1 and angle 2 form a linear pair. Angle 1 and angle 3 are vertical angles. Measure of angle 1 is 48 degrees. What is the measure of angle 3? So what is important to know here is they use vertical angles. So vertical angles are angles that are directly across from each other. So this could be angle 1 and this would be angle 3. Vertical angles are directly across from each other. A linear pair, they form a line. So here's angle 1. So angle 2 would be over here. So this is 48 degrees. The vertical angle directly across is also 48 degrees. Vertical angles have the same measure. So 48 degrees is the measure of angle 3, and that's how you read this notation. The measure of angle 3 is 48 degrees. What if we wanted to find the measure of angle 2? Well, linear pair, that adds up to 180. So measure of angle 1 plus the measure of angle 2 equals 180. So 48 plus the measure of angle 2 equals 180. Solving for the measure of angle 2, we subtract 48 from both sides. So the measure of angle 2 is 180 minus 48, which is 132 degrees. That wasn't asked, but that is just something that we'll be going over in this lesson. But the vertical angles are directly across from each other and they have the same measurement. Which pair of angles are complementary? So complementary means that they add up to 90 degrees. So we can already know that angle A is out. That's above 90 degrees. So let's check B and C. Does the measure of angle B plus the measure of angle C equal 90? So 38 plus 52 is 90. So these are complementary. So B and C are complementary. So very important. Complementary means 90 degrees. The measure of angle 1 is 51 degrees. What is the measure of its supplement? So supplementary, that means they add up to 180 degrees. So sometimes in this unit, the math isn't the difficult part. The difficult part is just remembering the definitions. So supplementary is 180. So we know that the measure of angle 1 plus its supplement, I'm just going to call it measure of angle S, has to equal 180 degrees. So 51 plus the supplement has to equal 180. Subtract 51 from both sides. So the measure of the supplement angle is 180 minus 51. So 180 minus 51 is 129 degrees. All right, so now we're getting into more of the notation and the drawing, just trying to read what we have here. And this asks us, what is x? So if we look, we see we have 3x plus 4, 9x plus 2, and these are expressions that are given to us for these angles. So I would name this angle DBE. So I'm just going to write that, the angle of DBE. Notice B is in the middle because that's the vertex, is 3x plus 4. This other angle over here is EBC. Again, B is in the middle because that's the vertex. And then this right here, let me get a color. That little box that goes for DBC means it's 90 degrees. That little box means it's 90 degrees. So we can see that we have these two angles together are 90 degrees. If we add these two up, they're 90 degrees. So we can write 3x plus 4 plus 9x plus 2 equals 90. Because that's measure of DBE plus EBC is 90. So we just plugged in what we knew. 3x plus 4 plus 9x plus 2 equals 90. And we solved this like we did back in semester 1. We combine like terms first. So 3x and 9x is 12x. 4 and 2 is 6 equals 90. Now we solve. We want to get the numbers together before we worry about the variable term. So we want to get rid of this this plus 6 by subtracting 6 from both sides. So 12x equals 84. Divide both sides by 12, because that 12x means 12 times x. So 84 divided by 12 is 7, so x equals 7. So we needed to know that that little box in there meant 90 degrees. All right, let's take a look at this one. Measure of angle 1 is 51 degrees. What is the measure of its complement? Complement means 90 degrees. So the measure of angle 1 plus the measure of its complement is 90. So 51 plus the measure of its complement equals 90. To move this to the other side, we subtract. These cancel, so the measure of its complement is 39 degrees. So again, knowing the difference between supplement and complement is the main idea of this lesson. Be sure to check out the flip follow-up or a help lab for extra information on this lesson. And let me know if you have questions during those sessions. Thanks.